Welcome to Lunch and Learn at Canvas Coworking. This week we're really pleased to have Lisa Clark with us from RetroHex doing Website 101. What are the things you need to think about before you start building your website? So take it away, Lisa.
I help businesses build their websites and their brand and help them learn how to use their websites and manage their websites. So that's what RetroHex does. So today we're going to be looking at what is a website, why you need a website, things you need to consider before building a website. And this will benefit you no matter if you're building your own website or if you're getting a professional to build it for you. If you can have all these things sorted before you start, it makes life a whole lot easier. And then some questions at the end, but feel free to ask questions throughout the session. So to begin with, what is a website? So in technical terms, a website is just a whole lot of pages, like a Word document, joined together, linked together, that can be viewed over the internet. So the pages are stored in files, just like your computer files, and those files are stored on big computers called servers. And those servers are managed by hosting companies. So you may have heard of hosting companies where you store your website. You might have had issues with hosting companies before accessing them, all those sorts of things. But that's basically, in technical terms, what a website is. So then when someone goes to the browser bar, so the browser bar is the top of your internet where you type in domain names and URL addresses. When you type in your URL there, which is your domain name, so retrohex.com.au, it will then take you to where that website stores so you can view it on the internet. So what is a website in terms of marketing? Think of your website as, let me go back. Think of your website as a long pitch. So you've probably got like a 30-second elevator pitch, hopefully. Well, your website is like the longer version of that pitch. So on your website, you need to be telling your customer what problem you're solving for them, how you're going to solve it for them, and why you are the one to solve it for them. So you're helping them understand who you are and what value you bring to them, and if they can trust you to do that for them. So why do you need a website? In this digital age, your customer expects it. Everyone is online, mostly on their mobile phones, so you also need to be there. Think of yourself as a customer. When you're looking at purchasing a product or service, the first thing you do is Google it. So best donuts in Toowoomba, you're going to end up with someone's website. So this day and age, that's what we're doing. We're looking online to research it. Maybe then we're going to Facebook to find out more about what the business does, but ultimately you'll end up at somebody's website to find out more, to determine if it's what you want, if it solves your problem, or if it fulfills your need, if it aligns with your values, and if it's worth parting with your money. So take, for example, Ross, my hubby. Last week our modem died. Shock horror. How do we exist without internet? So he jumped onto Google. As soon as it died, it wasn't like, oh, we'll just look at it tomorrow, we'll go browse the shops tomorrow. No, straight onto Google, researched products that could solve his problem. Then once he found the product, he searched for businesses in Toowoomba that supplied that product, so found websites that had it. If he found a business that didn't have a website, he went to another business that did have a website to look for products. And then that afternoon he went out and he got the new modem. So that's what we're doing. Another thing about a website, that it's not restricted to business hours. So people can be searching online at all times of the day and night and can find out more about your business and service without you even having to enter a phone, enter an email. And if you have an online store, you can make money in your sleep. So this is what websites are enabling this day and age. That's why you need to have a website. So what are some things you need to consider before you start building a site or before you get a website built? So the first thing you need to work out is your business model. So who is your customer? What problem are you solving for them? Is this really a problem? So validating that problem, and how you're going to make money from it. So I have a lot of clients who come to me who don't even know who their client is. they're not making money yet. So if they're not making money, as someone who's running a business and wanting to build a website for them, I don't feel ethically right taking someone's money from them if they're not going to be able to make money from that website because they haven't worked out their business model yet. So if you don't know who your customer is, and I mean really understand who they are, it makes it very hard not just to build a business, but it makes it hard to build a brand, and it makes it hard to build a website. There are some great tools you can use to figure out your business model and work out your target customer, such as the business model Canvas and creating like a custom avatar. So at Canvas Coworking, they run boot camps, which help you figure this out. I think they're running one at the moment on Saturdays. And they'll run heaps in the future. There's one coming up in September.
Yeah, mid-September we'll start another one, then it ends this summer.
Yeah. So you don't want to spend money or time building a website or getting a website built until you figure this out yourself. And your customer. So if you don't have a target, you know where to aim. The next thing you need to figure out is a business name. So figuring out a business name can be quite hard, especially in this digital day and age where a lot of domain names are already taken. So take, for example, my business name, RetroHex. It's quite a weird name if you think about it. How it came to be, I did a lot of brainstorming. I thought about my target. I thought about what I like as well. And retro comes from my love of vintage and retro design. And hex comes from the terminology hexadecimal, which is a color code we use for coding websites out. So that's how the name came to be. But the main reason I chose it was because it was available as a .com domain name and a .au domain name. So to figure out your business name, you can do brainstorming, but there's also a great tool online. One's called Namecheck. So you can go in and type out your name up here and it will show you if it's available as .com, .net, if it's available on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those sites. Because these are all the things you have to consider now when deciding on a business name. Not only just, oh yeah, that's a good name. The other things you need to consider is when you're setting up a website and you're choosing a domain name, if you want it to have an Australian extension, so retrohex.com.au, so the AU is the Australian extension, you need to have an Australian business number to actually get that domain name. So if you don't have that, you won't be able to get the .au extension. So that's something else you need to consider as well. So that's it, namecheck.com if you want to write it down. I can also send these slides to you as well. So I'll get you to write an email if you want me to send those to you. I can send them later, or Joy can send them. The third thing to consider is a brand. So what do I mean by a brand? In its simplest form, a brand is all about being consistent with what your the company's values are. Or what I like to break it down into is the double Bs. So your voice and your visual brand. So the brand voice is everything that you say, everything that you write, and everything that you do. So how you make your customer feel, what values are you portraying? Those are the things that make up the voice part of the brand. The visuals are how you look. So your logo, your color palette, your fonts, illustrations, everything that's visual and that people are actually seeing. This is what creates the visual brand. So this was my visual brand when I created RetroHex. So I just put together a simple little document. I actually did this in a tool called Canva, which I'll show you a bit later, just so you can have everything in one place. So when you've figured out your colors and your logo and your font, when you go forward in marketing, putting things on your social media, putting things on your website, you have this consistent brand, so you're using the same font throughout all your platforms, using the same colours throughout your platform, the same logo throughout your platform. So this is really important to keep that consistent brand, the visual brand as well. So how do you create a brand? So researching other brands that your target market customer loves, and get inspiration from them. What is that company's values? How do they speak? What sort of design do they have? So it might be, you know, ultra modern and sleek. It could be black and white colors. It could be the more vintage, you know, soft, pastel-y colors. You know, these are the things that you can look at. So when you understand who your customer is, you can look at the other brands that that customer loves and see what they like as well. Also researching your competitors. So seeing what they're doing and deciding if you want to be similar to what they're doing, because obviously they're reaching a same sort of customer target, or figuring out if you want it to be a little bit different in how you're designing. So the main thing with a brand is that your values need to be consistent across everything, from when you meet people, to your social media accounts, to your website and beyond. So people buy a product or use a service because the brand aligns with their values. Think of Apple. People don't buy Apple products because they are a superior product. In fact, Microsoft makes much better laptops. But people buy Apple because of what they stand for, their values. Everyone has values, so if you think of your own values, and values they want people to perceive they have. So they might actually have those values, but they want others to think, you know, they have those values. So for example, me, I want people to think that I'm eco-friendly and conscious, so I follow brands that have similar paths, but I might not be fully eco all the time, but that's something I want people to perceive me as having. So when you buy an Apple brand, you're saying to your friends that you're cool and you go against the trend, status quo. So why do you need to have a brand worked out before building your website? So like I said before, it's about having that consistency with your colors and your logo. So when you build a website, you're going to be creating up to 10 pages or more, and you need to know how you're going to speak on those pages, what you're going to say, what fonts and colors you're going to be using. You're going to be adding your logo, and you're going to be adding imagery. So it's important to work out those sorts of things before you start. If you don't know these things, building a website will be a nightmare and it won't be consistent. As I mentioned before, Canva is an amazing online tool. It helps you really figure out your brand, so your visual brand. So it will actually step you through color coordination, what colors work well together. They have like these little design tutorials on there. They'll also help you figure out a logo and how to work out what would work for your business. So it's a really great tool you can use. So the next thing you need to consider is what you actually want to put on your website. So the simplest way to figure this out is to think about what you want your customer to know when they land on your website, and ultimately what you want them to do when they land on your website. For example, you want them to know what problem you're solving, how you are the one that's going to solve it for them, and you want them to gain some trust, and ultimately you want them to purchase your product or contact you to use your service. So in this case, you would need to explain the problem so that it relates to your customer. You might have an about section to talk about what the product is and how it solves that problem. You might have some testimonials on others who've bought the product and how it helps them solve the problem. And then you have a shop, so an online shop, so that they can purchase the product. You also might want to have a frequently asked questions section. So questions they might have, you can answer them, so they don't even have to contact you via email or phone. They can just look on your site and those questions are answered for them. So you'd have you might have a contact section form as well, so they can contact you directly if those questions haven't been answered correctly or they need to know more. And you might want to have a video showing how the product is used and how it solves a particular problem. Depending on what your business offers, products or services will depend on what you need to have on your site. So I want us to take some time now to think about what we need to have on our site. So thinking about your business, who your customer is, what problem you're trying to solve. In your notepads or your pen and paper, there's also little sticky notes here. I want you to think about everything that you need to have on your website, and then potentially everything that you want to have in your website. So what do you want your customer to do when they get there, and what needs to be on there for them to do what you want them to do. So we're just going to take some time now to write those things out. If you have any questions about that, just throw them out there. So at home, pen and paper, and write down those things that you need on your website.
Digital.
What's that?
Can it be digital?
Yeah.
No, have to go old school.
So it might be an email opt-in form because you want to send out newsletters. It might be a blog because you want to, create content for your customer.
And if you're watching online and you've got any questions, just post them in the chat and we can ask Lisa, or you can take yourself off mute and ask.
Yeah. Everyone look here. Hello. I hate selfies.
They're good.
I'm
sure there.
To who though?
Well, if you post it online, yeah, everybody.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Anyone stuck for ideas? Are you stuck?
Probably too brief.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I think I'm too brief here.
Are you finding it hard to think of things because you're unsure of what your customer would want to do on your website when they got there, or? Yeah, it's a part of it. So maybe nothing out. Maybe you could figure out who your customer is this time. We had this conversation though.
Yeah.
But I reckon you should go home and definitely write it down somewhere, that customer. So creating a customer avatar is really important. So Linda from Toowoomba Group did one around customer avatars and marketing. And she has this concept of her customer target. She creates names for them, you know, personality types, where they go shopping, what they eat, what coffee they drink. You know, this is like the sort of detail that you need to figure out, because it really helps you when you're marketing, figuring out how you're going to speak to someone. And if it's really narrow, that's even good. So some people think, oh, you know, but my target customer is everyone. But if you're trying to hit everyone, you'll never hit a target. So it's good to really have a really narrow target, because it will help with figuring out what you need on the website.
Yeah, I have got a
Yes.
idea of what my customer is.
Yeah.
I'll tell them
Yeah. And sometimes we want them to be someone other than maybe who they're not, if that makes sense. So that whole, I really want my customer to be this person, but actually maybe I'm better suited to targeting this kind of customer. So there's that also as well. So does anyone want to have a go at sharing their business and some things that they think that they should have on their website? Paul.
Well, the obvious things which I haven't had already, which is name, address, phone number, location, contact us button.
Yep.
Maybe a photo or a picture or pictures.
Yeah.
That's the obvious ones, which
Yeah.
is business information.
Yeah. So by putting those things on there, what do you want your customer to do, feel?
Call the road, well, I want them to contact me.
Yeah.
With a big white phone or message. Or, probably just make contact with me, whichever way suits them.
So getting them to that point where they understand what you do, how you're going to solve their problems. So really addressing what problems they have.
Yeah.
Because you know what they have, the problems.
That's the intention of a phone call or on the website.
On the website. Yep. So addressing those problems, putting them really explicitly out there. You know, I can't get Windows to work properly, or whatever. You know, that sort of. Even, you know, a video on a bit of a funny video around this pain point that people have. You know, the computer keeps shutting down on them. What do you do?
That's including testimonials in there too.
Testimonials are good for you, yeah. Any sort of service provider testimonials are great, even products as well. Testimonials are very important for getting that trust element. Also, photos for testimonials seem to work quite well. So making sure there's actually a person that they can see and can relate to. So that target customer, they want to align with that testimonial as well.
If there's going to be a person in the photo, chance that needs to be what their avatar is.
Yeah. It's tricky.
Okay.
It's tricky, all these things we need to consider when building a website, when starting a business. Does anyone else want to share? And I can give you pointers if you want around what you might want.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a sewing business. I teach people how to sew or embroider. So the things that I would like online would be the services that I provide.
Yep.
I want to be able to put a blog on there, which I have.
And what's the purpose of the blog for you? What would the customer, how would that help your customer?
Okay, so in the blog, I'm not only talking about sewing and solving problems with sewing, I'm also creating like a lifestyle thing as well, as in, you know, like trying to be self-sustaining.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Okay. So that's where your values are coming out there. So you're appealing to people who want to maybe live off the grid a bit more, want to kick it, stick it to the big man, you know, want to be, you know, growing their own fruit and veggie,
Yes.
want to be, you know, sewing their own stuff. That whole waste, war on waste element. So that, you know, you're really pinpointing your target there, which is great.
So also I'd like to have like privacy statements and my refund policies.
Yep.
Shop, because I've got products that I can sell as well. Kits, sewing kits, other things that I've had, I think are nice that I use within my sewing, like
Yep.
little mini speakers that Bluetooth to my phone, so I can listen to podcasts or live music, or I can answer my phone calls whilst I'm actually sewing.
Yeah.
So I use those, so I sell those as well. So that's the sort of thing. Recommendations, things there. And about you know, like a little blurb on
Yeah.
what I want it all to be about.
Yeah. And so there'll be people who want to read a little bit, and then there's people who want to read a lot. So it's good to cater for those two types of people. So having a short little intro paragraph of who you are, but then also having a lot longer part because people like to read. Also having a photo of yourself. I don't have a photo of myself on my site. I need to do that. Do some fun, quirky photos and get them up on my back page. So really representing your personality in those photos. So maybe you at the sewing machine or embroidering or out in the garden picking fruit. You know, that sort of, that value alignment.
Or a basket of fruit.
Yeah. With your wool, knitted wool, your whatever you use to embroider. Yeah, that'd be great. If you need help with photos, you know who to call. I think I do a good photo. Good. No, it's not my expertise, but I like taking photos.
Actually, one of the ladies that we've got online, Susan Jacobs, is a photographer, and she helps people with developing their personal brand. She's in Dolby, but she travels.
What's her name? Sorry?
Susan Jacobs. Susan Jacobs Photography.
Because that's what we struggle with.
Yeah, getting good.
Guys on side, take a nice photo.
Yeah.
And it's not just about taking a photo, it's really around that brand,
Yes.
knowing what your customer wants to see you doing and, you know, what you're portraying your value-wise.
I did get a photographer to come down and do some photos, but it was my fault because I wasn't specific enough with what I wanted. And out of like about 50 photos, I think I had about 3 that I can use. It's just, yeah, it was me because I wasn't specific enough.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
But also, the photographer needs to get that out of you as well. You know, that's part of their.
Yeah, is there something you could, before you, because when you put on the spot, when you say talk to a photographer, is there something you can say, here's an intro?
Susan, can you take yourself off mute, honey?
Yeah, I'm off mute.
Okay, on their screen.
Can you hear me?
You can't get up there.
Can you hear me?
Can you talk? Can we hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just see if I've got volume.
Hello?
Volume?
I can hear you, Susan.
Just see, because
I can hear everyone else.
really well. She's come and run a session on personal branding in a couple of workshops that I've run, and explains it really well how she prepares somebody to have that session.
Yeah.
So
Hi, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
I can.
Oh,
You can.
David.
Okay, David can.
Maybe it's because we're coming through this.
Are we on here? Okay, hang on a second. Just want to try again?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear.
Hello?
Why can't we hear? Just 2 seconds.
Anyone else want to share? That's good. Keep working on that because I know you're presently building your site.
Yes.
So it's easy. So stop building your site. Figure these things out. You
Yes.
know, really figure out what you want on each page, what you need on each page. You've got your branding pretty much sorted. Do you think? Are you happy with your?
Yeah, I'm happy with my logo and the colours.
Yeah.
Just need to work on.
And think of the imagery as well. What images?
Yeah. Yeah, I might be able to get better photos, I think.
There's some really good photo sharing sites. So Pixels, PEXELS.com is a Creative Commons, so you can use them without having to pay for them. So on your website. And Unsplash, UNSPLASH.com as well.
When you design a website for someone, what I found with a couple of people I've used, they've just used a template, basically, and they've just dumped it in there, and I'm gone, well, why did I pay for that?
Yeah, so mine are very customized, so I'm all about listening to what my customer needs, understanding their target market. I actually do quite a bit of research around the target market because that's helped me with my design.
Yep.
And that's why it's important that if you figure these things out, it makes it easier for your web designer.
Because it is really, and that was what the struggle I had. For what we do, it's about professionalism, and a photo that can, on a construction site, to someone who knows what they're talking about for safety, for, you know, they will see that. They will pick it up and go, well, that slab's not even level. You know what I mean? And they want, oh, there's no caps on there. Someone could dash their leg. But to a photographer, and that's what I felt. People were saying to me, these are the photos, these look pretty.
Yeah.
And I'm going, but that's,
so this is where you need to listen. So I need to listen to you because you're the expert in your industry. So for example, I've done a roofing company website, I'm doing a solar, you know, I have no knowledge of this industry at all. So I'm constantly learning all these things, especially
and it is
solar, I'm like AC, DC, electric. So he's explaining these things to me because if I don't understand some of these elements, it can,
because we're dealing with clients who mitigating risk is so important to them. And being a smaller company, we need to show the clients that we might be small, but we're still professional. We still mitigate that risk for you. Because they can't afford to have their brand damaged by contractors coming on site. And
so expressing that through your photography, maybe through a video.
So I think we've got sound now. So Susan, do you just want to try again? I think we've got it sorted.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Testimonials from other clients who've used you, you know that, and getting them to talk about that safety element in their testimony.
Yep. David, can you just try talking just to see if we...
Yeah, sure, yeah. I can talk, but I can also hear
I can hear you from there. Just try again. Can you try again, please?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear David, and I can hear everyone in the...
And we can read it.
Yeah. So I kind of probably know what I think you'd be saying anyway. So Susan, I'm just going to put the words out of my mouth because I've heard you say it a few times now. But Susan has basically a model where she'll communicate with you over the phone first and book in an appointment. But that appointment's at least 4 hours long. And in part of the process, she'll get you to think about a few things and fill out a bit of a questionnaire about yourself before she even gets there. So when she gets there, she can spend time with you, you know, just reviewing that, also looking for ideal situations to take those photos. So it's not enough to just take a photo against a wall, but with you out doing things, using the product that you have if you've got a physical product, engaging with people if that's what you do, so making sure you've got someone else ready, being in a place where you do what you do. So if you work from an office and let's say you're a bookkeeper and you use a computer and you might use something else and you're in your office, actually taking photos in situ so people can understand that as well. But yes, it would be, you know, with your sewing machine, with fabrics, pictures of fabric, pictures of things as well are really important. But she goes through this whole checklist and then sits down and spends time with you, but then it is taking a whole series of photos, but with consideration of what you're going to want to use them for. So this sort of process of thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to start a website, it might have a blog. What are even some of the articles that I might write in my blog? And maybe you'll have a list of 20 or 25 potential blog topics, and then she'll take photos that you can use with those so that they're actually really targeted to what you're writing about and they suit the purpose, even though you might not write that article for another 3 months or 6 months. So you may utilise them on, you know, flyers, you might utilise them on your website. If you do any other sort of promotion, maybe if you sponsor something and you need your photo put into somebody else's program or something like that, then your logo might go in, but if you've got room for a photo, it just makes that little bit more impact. So they're the sorts of things that she thinks about with you at that time, and then takes the whole series of photos that you can use over, a year or maybe even more. So Susan, I hope that kind of worked, if that's what you would have said.
Yeah, that's pretty much about what it was. I just will.
As well, and we can read it later.
You
If
should
you want to type
the
anything in the
question.
chat, just type
Type it
it.
in
For
the
some
chat,
reason I
yeah.
can't hear you, I don't know why. David obviously can though, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, so can
I'd type it into the chat there.
So
Susan.
once you've figured out the elements that you want on your website, it's then good to actually draw out each page and what you want on each page. So what you want on your home page, what you want on your about page, what you want on like elements of what you want in your blog. So, brainstorming how many blogs you want to publish a month, which is how many topics per month, all these sorts of things. It's a good idea. So we call it wireframing, which is basically just little simple sketches. It doesn't need to be fancy. A little play button for your video, a little cross for images, text, you just have lines, just to get a feel of how the layout would work and how the customer would work their way through those pages. This is really important for when you're building your website. So when you have wireframes, like if I was to build a website and I had no idea what I want on each page, it would take me forever to just play around with it. But when you have a structure and when you follow things, it makes things easier. Just in life, like if you organise, like I have my kids' lunches organised, it makes life easier. This is also really good if you're going to be outsourcing it to a web designer. So having things like this makes life easier for them, it makes the process a lot quicker as well. But they'll be doing these, well, they should be doing these things as well. Designing each page as a sketch. So the last thing you need to consider is what platform to use. This is probably the most hardest thing to figure out for some people. You know what? I think ultimately it doesn't really matter what you use as long as you get the end result, which is, if you wanted a shop, having the shop on there. If you want information on there, it's up there. So it's finding a tool that you can utilize yourself. So things you need to consider before you choose a platform is understanding how much time you have. So if you're working a full-time business, you're making money in your business, you don't have time to build a website. Really, building a website probably isn't going to happen. So it might be something you need to invest money in to get someone else to do it. If you're starting a business and you have a bit of time, you don't have lots of money, it might be, and you're a little bit tech savvy, so you can, if you set up a Facebook page, if you know how to use a Word document, if you know how to send an email, you pretty much have the skill there to build a website from scratch. So these are the things you have to consider. And also how much time you have moving forward. So once you've built that website, do you want to be spending an hour a week maintaining that website, making sure security is good, the host is working, the security certificate, all these things that go into making sure a website's functioning each week. Is that something you have time to do moving forward, or is that something you want to pay someone else to do? Just for example, bookkeeping, I outsource that because I don't want to do it. Kelly, thank you. You're there. Accounting, obviously another thing I don't want to be doing, so outsource that. There's things that you just don't have time, but you might have money, so you can outsource them. So these are some of the most popular platforms out there and the most simplest to use. So platforms that are user-friendly and you don't need to know code to build them. So these are the platforms that I've chosen to share around today. There's one called Weebly, there's one called Shopify, there's one called Wix, one called Squarespace, and one called WordPress. So I'm going to be focusing on the bottom three because Weebly, Squarespace, and Wix are very similar to each other, and Wix is probably a little bit more popular and probably a little bit more affordable.
Squarespace has nothing to do with the Square payment system, is it?
No,
Have you ever looked at Google?
Yeah, Google's got their own little,
I use that.
yeah,
And it's
It's
really
good.
Google sites, and it's very easy to build.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bit weak, that it's not very flexible though.
No, and
They'll
that's,
go there, and you down and move things
Yeah.
around. You pay someone to do that.
So if you want a customized site that you can add lots of elements to, that, you know, you can have an online shop. These are probably more the sort of sites you want to look at. Google's good for if you just want to throw something up quickly and have your address and your email and your contact details, that sort of thing.
because when I look at the industry I'm in, they don't have fancy websites.
Yeah.
They're clear, they're succinct, they're professional. They
Yeah.
just need, it just needs to show what you do.
Yeah.
They don't need, they haven't got a shop for, like an electronic shop.
Yeah,
front.
so it's an information site.
Yeah.
So it's really showing what they do, telling people what they
And there might
do,
be a video
get in
of-
contact.
You know, time-lapse photography.
Yeah.
A project.
Yeah. Yeah, so Google might just be perfect for you. I'm not sure if
I wasn't quite sure about security.
Google around the domain element. So it would be hosted all on the Google servers. So I'm not sure what they do around.
That's what mine is.
Yeah,
It's just hosted by the Google
Yeah.
server, and as long as you have a Google account.
yeah.
I think it uses G Suite. No, G Suite. No. But you know, I did that, and exactly what
So
Lisa
you
said.
said-
I had nothing. I need to get something up there, considering I'm in tech. So I used that. It didn't cost anything, and it's just an information. It's not marketing.
Yeah.
It really does not good for marketing, but it's good for just here's my information.
It's like a business card online.
The business card, yeah.
Susan's just typed a little bit of stuff. So she said, in addition to what I said, I would add in the consultation prior to the shoot. So she does that consultation before the actual photo shoot. And she asks about your brand, colours, the objects, the design. And when I shoot, I can ensure their brand colours are streamlined into both the images and the editing. And then, for example, hiring a photographer that only edits in a certain style or bold dark colours might not suit your brand. So yeah, she thinks about the editing and the colours of things that are in the images as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's important. Yeah, so as I said, I'm just going to focus on the bottom three. So Wix. So Wix is a great platform to use if you want to build a simple information site where visitors can learn about what you do and they can contact you. It's fairly affordable and it has hundreds of layouts that you can use. For basic plans, it's around $280 a year. So that's very affordable. It's hosted by Wix, so it's all on Wix's servers. So you don't have to worry about hosting or security. They look after that for you, but that doesn't mean that you can't be hacked. So PayPal and all those big companies are still getting hacked. It's obviously a threat constantly, so making sure you're keeping up with security practices like having strong passwords, those sorts of things is still important. There's a free version of Wix, but there's all their advertising's on it, and supposedly it's getting worse, their advertising. So the free version is probably not great for when you're wanting to have a professional website with your branding and logo and those sorts of things.
So they have
And
like
you can't connect
banners,
your domain name with the
they
free
have
version.
banners up the side.
Yeah, banners on the side, Wix thing down the bottom. Yeah, those sorts of things. And you can't connect your domain name. So if retrohex.com.au, I wouldn't be able to use that unless I paid for the premium version. It would say Wix at retrohex.com or something like that.
It's the same with the Google one. You have to use business side of whatever it is.
Yeah. Do you have the clicker thing again? Sorry, I'm not sure if there's a. Yeah, cool. So yeah, so Wix is great for a simple information site. Shopify is a great platform if you want to have just e-commerce for an online shop. So it's becoming one of the most popular sites for building e-commerce sites. It's fairly simple to use. There's lots of layouts you can choose from. Again, it's hosted by Shopify, so you don't have to worry about hosting or security. They look after that. But again, make sure you do those secure things like secure passwords, those sorts of things. However, it's one of the more expensive options. So pricing ranges from $500 to $1,000 a year, depending on what you want to do, what layouts you want to use, those things. Then WordPress is an all-rounder, so it's great for building information sites, blogging sites, and e-commerce sites. It was started as a blogging platform way back when the internet was created. So it's one of the the best platforms around for blogging and for SEO. So Wix has been known in the past not to be great for SEO, which is ranking higher. So having the ability to add things like keywords and meta descriptions which help those search engines like Google search engine, Bing search engine, crawl through your site and understand your site. So Wix has been known not to have a very good element in that. WordPress has always been very good and it's quite good, but I believe Wix is getting better. Unlike the other two, so unlike Wix and Shopify, WordPress is self-hosted. So you have to set up your own host. So you have to find a host that you want to use and you have to maintain the site. So you have to update plugins, you have to monitor the security, those sorts of things. It is probably the most affordable depending on what theme you're using for it, so what layout you're wanting to purchase. There are free layouts, but it's quite restrictive if you don't know code, so you're quite stuck with that theme. There is a theme that I use and I can share that with you via email. It's about $100 and that's it. And it makes customizing your site, you can do anything and you don't need to know code. So I'll use what we call CSS code, which is like changing dimensions and colors and things like that code for things. But for people who are building their own site, this theme with WordPress is a phenomenal tool. So I can share that with you later if you leave your email here. So WordPress is around $150 a year because you're paying for your hosting and you're paying for your domain name. So with Shopify and Wix, you're also paying for your domain name. So a domain name is around $25 a year, roughly, depending on what domain name you want to have. There are more expensive ones. For example, I ran a food truck event here 2 years ago. It's called One Table, and I wanted to get the domain name, and someone's just parked it, and they wanted me to pay $2,500 for it. I'm like, there's all these domains just sitting there not being utilized. Anyway, I ended up using One Table Toowoomba and paid like $12 a year or something. Yes. So out of the three, WordPress, so Wix, the cons are probably not great for SEO. Shopify is probably most expensive, and WordPress is probably the steepest learning curve. So there's some pricing. You can jump on their sites and have a look at them. So they're all very different. So things you need to consider. So figure out your business model, get your business name and an ABN if you want that, Australian.au. Make sure you have a consistent brand created, so what your voice, what you say, and what your visuals look like. Figure out what you need on your website, and then trying to figure out what platforms you use. So platforms is probably the hardest thing to figure out. So if you guys have questions now regarding the platforms, feel free to ask me. But that's pretty much it. I also have a online course that I run, and it's using WordPress. So starting to build a website using WordPress. So I have an online course that I've set up. I also run live workshops here as well. And I have a coupon just for you guys, $100 off. So it's usually $249. That'll be $149. So I can give that to you. I think I've written it down as Canvas. So CANVAS 2018 is the coupon code. And if you just jump on my website, retrohex.com.au, and go to the workshop tab. You can also go to workshops.retrohex.com.au and find it there. So if you do decide that WordPress is something you want to utilize to build your website, this is a very step-by-step workshops with this. Yep. Retrohex.com.au. Yeah. But if you want to leave your email, I can send those links through to you as well. If you leave your email, I can also send through all the steps I take, so just like list them out of how to build a WordPress site. So not the online course, I'll happily send that all to you, and the links to the hosting and the theme that I use, because that way I can make a commission from that. So that's another way I can do it for you as well.
We've just got a question as
Yes.
well. So for a WordPress e-commerce site, can you integrate with eBay like you can on Shopify?
Yes, so there's plugins for WooCommerce for eBay and Amazon.
So
And if there's no plugin, you would be able to, so instead of actually having the e-commerce running on your WordPress site, you could create a page that links to your eBay shop, if that makes sense. So you would build your WordPress site, and then when they click on the shop tab, it takes them to your eBay shop.
So Kelly, if that answers your question, just let us know, or if you want to take yourself off mute and ask anything to clarify. Yep, no, that's good.
Did you say you needed an ABN and whatever it is to get an AU domain?
Just an ABN, so Australian business number,
Yes.
to get an Australian.au extension. You don't need to get a .com, so retrohex.com I could get. I needed my ABN to actually register to get the .au, and that's just, it's actually really good because it prevents international companies coming in and taking away the .au extension. So when you have an Australian company, people like to know they're buying from Australian companies. We're very local Australian. So having a .au, if you're Australian company, is actually quite a good thing to have because people are like, oh yeah, they're Australian.
Right, okay.
So even saying with Amazon now, people are wanting to buy from Australian Amazon shops instead. So there's lots of Chinese companies, American companies who are coming into Australia with their big, $1 million Amazon shops. But people are like, you know what, I actually want to support Australian Amazon shops. So they're going to these little Australian Amazon shops instead of big Chinese.
Okay.
So just on the side of the URL, if you're buying a website address and you want a .com.au, it doesn't actually have to exactly match your business name either. So like we own quite a few .com.aus that are perhaps our product name or a program name or something like that we do because we want control of that. So we don't use them all, but we own them so no one else could use them. But that's not actually our business name, but we just have to show that we have a company in Australia to be able to buy that. So yeah, it doesn't have to exactly match.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So I could buy graphic design Toowoomba.com.au, and I'm not going to because I could waste a lot of money buying lots of domains.
Another question, would your course be good to help if you want to design an e-commerce store?
Okay, so my, it's an introductory to WordPress. So it will teach you how to build a home page, an about page, and a contact page. It will show you how to install an e-commerce plugin called WooCommerce, but it doesn't take you through how to set up the shop element. So that's going to be another workshop that I'm working on currently, but I'm definitely available, after you've created your simple website to coach you on how to set up the e-commerce. So I've just recently helped Toowoomba have just launched Bridget. So Bridget's a bookkeeper here and she has another business selling teddies with embroidery for children, and she did my course. I've built a website and they've also added that e-commerce shop on there. So they were able to ask me questions and I'm happily give that support.
Great, thank you. That's the response.
Yeah. So the course that I run is very, very step by step. So it's all video tutorials and there's also the workbook that you can download as well.
What was the
It's Canvas, so CANVAS 2018.
Said with the WordPress that you have to look up the security of it yourself. So
Yes.
what does that involve?
Yeah, so on my course, I'll show you to use some plugins. So on WordPress, WordPress is basically an open source platform that developers have created out of their time to their heart. They maintain it out of time to their heart. And they create these extra plugins that you can add in. So there's the e-commerce plugin, there's the security plugin, all these other bits of code that they've created that you just literally upload in, so you plug it in. And there's security plugins that do that for you. So they monitor your site and they'll email you if they see anything suspicious. They'll email you when you need to update your plugins because that's probably one of the biggest things on WordPress is that plugins are constantly getting updated. So new things are added. So, for example, the e-commerce shop that you add to your WordPress site They might add, now you can use PayPal to pay for things, or now you can use Stripe to pay for things, or now you can use the newest credit card facility. So they're updating these things to make sure they're modern and relevant, which means you have to then go in and update those plugins. So these security settings will remind you or email you when you need to update these plugins, because if you don't update the plugins, this is when hackers can get into your site. So security around WordPress is making sure your site's updated regularly, making sure you have really, really strong passwords, and a password that you don't use anywhere else. So this is really important just in general security, cybersecurity. Don't use the same password anywhere. Make sure it's really, really long. They're saying the best password now is 4 words long, and that's generally easier to remember for yourself. So it could be like sunflower, rainbows, peaches, and apricots. Just these 4 random words, but it's really, really long, and it's really, really hard to guess those things. A lot of sites will want you to add characters as well, so numbers or symbols, so adding those in. So maybe sunflowers, the O is the number O, or that sort of concept. The S is the dollar S sign, that sort of thing. So security, so updating plugins, making sure your passwords are really secure. If you do get hacked, making sure you have regular backups of your site. So if something does happen, they break in, well, you know what, they're not going to hold you ransom because you've got all the file backup anyway.
You back up locally, you don't back up in the same server.
You can back up to a range of things. So you can back up to Dropbox, you can back up to Google Drive, you can back up to your computer.
But you wouldn't back up to the same server that it's stored on.
So the server will back up. They usually back up, once a week or once a month or whatever the hosting company does. So they will have previous. So say if I went and I changed an image or some wording this month, it might go back to the previous month. So that might be missing from the backup.
Right.
But if you're doing the backup yourself, which there's plugins that help you do that, I talk through that in my course, and it just backs up. You can set it to back up every day, and set it to back up every second day, third day. It depends on how often you're changing your site, really.
So you've seen my site. Do you think it's worth me doing this course?
So what the course really runs you through is how to set up domain name, how to set up hosting, how to design your site, what you need to add to your site, how to install WordPress, how to install the theme, how to utilize those themes. So you've probably already got that element there. You're sort of going back and trying to figure out what you want on your site. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've already got all those other
If we're stuck for time and we've already got a website, if we get you to do all the bang, it's up and ready to go, do you then give education on to?
So my niche is pretty much, I work with small businesses who want me to build a website and then teach them how to use the website.
Yeah.
So whatever you want me to do going forward, I'll do. So if you want me to monitor the security, I can. If you want me to add blog content, I can. If you want to monitor the security yourself,
I'll create a package of website, Facebook, so that we're out and that email out, so that we're in front of mind with our clients still.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just drop off.
So I would recommend really sitting down and setting down a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
So working out what platforms your customers are on. So are they even on Facebook? Are they on Twitter?
We're getting, I didn't think they were, but we have been getting feedback from contractors we utilise who work in that space, saying they do use Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's also something that we are quite diverse in what we do, and if we can just pop up new stuff, and say this is what we do, because their problem is they don't know who's in the market that actually can do this and do it well.
Yeah.
They go, oh, we didn't realise you did that, even though you've got your website, you've got that. So it's that coming to front of mind.
Yeah. So Facebook definitely would be good for that, and
a newsletter. That's what we thought, because it's once again they're seasonal.
Yeah. So MailChimp's a really good free.
MailChimp.
It's really good free.
But that's
you
what
can automate it now. It actually links in with WordPress.
And you, what I want to do is, I know that I'll get busy and I've got all these great ideas, but it's having someone to sit with me and go, right, if we're going to have 6 emails a year, I have that structure like Susan. know that you've got the photos, because that's the issue, and that's what takes time, is you know what you want to say, and then go, have I got a good photo to back that up. So I want to sort of get all that structure in there.
Yeah.
So then when it's time to outlay that information to clients, it's really efficient.
Yeah. So schedule. So you mean scheduling?
Yeah.
So for me, this morning I did. So I had at the beginning of the year, you know, I'm going to schedule and get all my photos and everything. You have all these grand plans. So this morning I was getting up, you know, logos and websites I've been doing because I haven't updated my Instagram in ages or my Facebook in ages. So I sat down. So there's a really cool tool on Instagram called Plan, which is a scheduling app. So I can just upload logos and websites I've done and then schedule out the time, and it will remind me, oh, it's time to add it to.
See, that's the kind of thing I want. Have that automated system that reminds you.
I think Instagram even might have it now. I think they might have built it in recently that you can schedule. I know Facebook you can schedule, and Facebook owns Instagram now, so I presume that it will just come across to Instagram as well. No, maybe not yet. So you still have to use third party. It'd be very handy. Instagram, I know. So Instagram is huge for me because it's all visual, so I need to be on there.
It's like just
running your business.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So I need to outsource my social media marketing. So if you don't think I'm good at social, no, I know a few people who are good at that element. So my expertise is logo and visual branding and building out websites. And I happily will sit down and go through a marketing strategy as well with you, but it's not I'm not a marketer.
No.
It's not my, I haven't
And I'm not really, it's not my headspace for social media. I'm good at processing and automating things.
Well, if you're good at that, you'll probably be good at setting up a schedule then.
If I get time to.
Exactly. So once you know the tools, you'll probably be like, oh yeah, I'll just get it up.
Yeah.
And it's creating the content is the tricky part.
Yes.
So yes, you have these ideas, but then you have to get the imagery, you have to get the written text.
Yeah.
So
It's finding the time to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something, and it probably is something you can't outsource the content, but you could outsource if you give them the tool.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of people who do content creation. So Penny, what's your business called? Yeah. David, what's Penny's copywriting business called? Storytelling.
Yeah, it's
So
hard though, because in our industry there's a lot of, it's a genre in itself.
But she really is good at researching and understanding. So that's her key. You know, she's written for sustainable business. You know, she researches things so that she can understand.
What's that business called?
Story
skilling. Skilling.
Do you want to-
S-K-I double-M-I-N-G.
I think I've got the question.
And she's very good at grant writing too. Okay, grant writing. Those digital marks and stuff. Any other questions?
Just a quick one. How much time a week or a month would you expect to need to spend in updating security and updating plugins and like how?
If you can commit 10 minutes a week to going into your website updating plugins,
That's it.
that's good. But if you're wanting to write content and upload a blog,
No,
you need 8 hours a week.
oh yeah, no, that's forever. That's 40
So
hours.
creating content is probably the hardest element. Getting content up onto your website. So it can take a long time to write a blog. Especially if you don't like writing. Any other questions? David, do you have any questions? How's your website going?
Yeah, still working.
Still working?
Yeah.
How often would you spend a week updating plugins?
I'm really crap at that. And I also should do it every week. I do it every couple of months.
Yeah, wow. See, that's hack right there. I could go to a hack and say, look, David's site, he doesn't update plugins. No,
But yeah, so we should have it. Yeah. That is a problem. And content-wise, the busier I've got, the harder it's been to do. So my website makes me quite a bit of money. Keeps me quite busy from that side, which means I don't have the time to write the content. So I've engaged a content writer to create content.
Yeah, that's good.
But it'll cost anywhere from $50 to $75 an article.
But that's
Which is
Worth your time, I reckon. Absolutely.
Flower and Eastern Europe. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes and sometimes he'll outsource the content writing.
You should
And
do
then, but I'll know when it
a
goes
lunch
out.
and learn on that process.
Mm.
That'd be good if you could do a lunch and learn on how that process worked for you.
Well, it was a pretty organic thing, really. It was a case of a guy approached me to see if they could publish some stuff on my website for SEO purposes.
Okay.
And I thought, well, this is the kind of content I want on my website.
Yeah.
And I need someone to write it, and I could work out that he was in somewhere, it was a content writer, so just opened up a conversation with him and said, okay, start making me content too. So, but I'll do that sporadically, every couple of months, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But in the first 4 or 5 years, I was probably putting content on a weekly basis. My website was 450 pages in size probably now.
E-commerce.
Yeah, so whenever you create content, so for example, I created content for today, so I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to write a blog, I'm going to do a video, so I have a YouTube channel, so I can put it on there, I can put it on my blog, I can share it on my Facebook
Every
page.
single piece of content you create can be repurposed 10, 12 times over at least.
That's why it's good when I do lunch and learns, because it forces me. So when Joy goes, Lisa, can you do lunch and learn? I'll be like, in the back of my head, yes, I should do it, because it forces me. Alright, so if you want me to send through those PowerPoints, if you want the links through to the themes and everything that I use, add the email there, I can send it through. And I have
Any more questions there?
No,
any
it's
questions
no
on
more.
there?
No.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lisa.